I'm going to keep it calm and practical, because buying a CNC router can feel like stepping into a minefield of specs, promises, and a lot of what-if doubts. You're probably wondering whether the machine will actually fit the projects you have on your bench, if the upgrade over the older Genmitsu models is worth the extra bucks, and whether you'll end up spending more time on setup than on making things. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I want to do is walk through the real-world experience of getting the PROVerXL 4030 V2 up and running, see where it shines, where it trips, and help you decide if it's the right tool for your shop. First, a quick look at the landscape. CNC routers aimed at hobbyists and small workshops promise a balance, enough power to cut wood, plastics, and light metals, but with a footprint you can fit on a garage bench. The sweet spot is a machine that's sturdy enough to hold a piece of plywood steady while it makes a sign, yet flexible enough to swap to a 6060 aluminum board for a few prototype brackets without re-engineering the whole setup. That's the promise Genmitsu is making with this version of the PROVerXL, and it's the promise that matters more than any headline number on a spec sheet. Unboxing the PROVerXL 4030 V2 feels a bit like a DIY furniture project. The main gantry comes in a fairly compact box, and the 6060 aluminum and MDF hybrid spoilboard table is split into two panels that you slot together. The track system runs along the edges of the spoilboard, ready for clamps or a dust collection shoe. Assembly took me about an hour, mostly because the instructions assume a bit of mechanical intuition. The biggest hidden trade-off here is the need for a perfectly level base. If your workbench has even a slight wobble, you'll notice the gantry hunting for position, especially when you push the upgraded motion system to its higher speeds. A quick shim under the legs solved the problem for me, but that's an extra step you might not anticipate. Once the machine is bolted down, the software side is where most new buyers hit a learning curve. Genmitsu bundles a version of Laser GRBL that works fine for simple cuts, but if you're planning to run multi-axis jobs or integrate with Fusion 360, you'll spend a few evenings tweaking post-processors. That said, the upgraded motion system really does feel quicker. In my tests cutting a 12-12-inch piece of inch MDF, the router completed the job about 20% faster than the older 4030 model I owned, and the acceleration didn't introduce any noticeable ringing in the finished edges. The speed boost is most noticeable when you're doing repetitive jobs, say, a batch of 30 small wooden puzzles where the time saved adds up quickly. Now, who should consider this machine? If you're a maker who regularly jumps between materials, wood for a decorative sign, MDF for a prototype housing, and occasional thin aluminum for a custom bracket, the hybrid spoilboard is a genuine convenience. The aluminum surface resists wear from metal bits, while the MDF side gives you a forgiving bite for wood. The track system also means you can mount a simple vacuum pump or a set of toggle clamps without buying a separate fixture. Educators who need a versatile platform for student projects will appreciate that flexibility, as it lets the class experiment without swapping out the whole work surface. On the flip side, if you're a professional fabricator who needs sub 0.1 mm repeatability, or you're looking to produce large format parts, the PROVerXL's 400 mm x 300 mm work envelope will feel cramped. The machine's frame, while more durable than its predecessor, still relies on aluminum extrusions that can flex under heavy cuts in dense hardwood. You'll want to keep the cutting depth moderate. Pushing past inch in a solid hardwood can start to introduce a tiny bit of drift, which becomes noticeable in tight dovetail joints. Also, there's no built-in enclosure, so dust and chips are out in the open, a concern if you're working in a shared space or with aluminum shavings that can be sharp. Speaking of practical strengths, the upgraded motion system is the headline feature that lives up to the hype. The stepper motors have smoother micro-stepping, which translates to cleaner corners on engraved text. I tried engraving a 0.5 mm deep font into an inch acrylic sheet, and the letters came out crisp without the jagged edges you sometimes see on older hobby routers. The wide material compatibility is another win. I swapped from a sheet of 3 mm MDF to a 2 mm aluminum plate in under 5 minutes, just by sliding the spoilboard and tightening the clamps. The durability claim holds up for the typical hobbyist.